As the bustling corridors of the Zeno habitation ring thrummed with activity, Officer Zerr darted around a corner at a dead sprint, his heart racing in tune with the hurried footsteps echoing behind him. The metallic walls shimmered under the harsh lights, casting elongated shadows that danced along the floor. Zerr skidded to a halt in the middle of the hallway, straining to capture any sound amidst the deafening silence that enveloped him. A cry of anguish echoed in his mind, distant yet unmistakable, like a haunting reminder that had come to roost in his consciousness. He had come running to help, but now he stood alone, surrounded by towering doorways designed for the larger species of the Federation. The cold metal of the floor beneath him, contrasting sharply with the warmth of the dread building in his chest. Uncertainty crept in, tugging at his resolve. Zerr had never been one to succumb to wild imaginings, yet the whirlwind of excitement from only his second day on the job was rapidly dissolving into a gnawing doubt that clawed at him from within. The hallway felt narrower, as if the walls were closing in on him, and the distant memories of the horror stories told by seasoned officers echoed ominously in his mind. Summoning what courage he could muster, Zerr took a deep breath and stepped cautiously forward. The sound of his footsteps echoed eerily in the stillness as he navigated the lengthy corridor, his small stature dwarfed by the massive structures that loomed overhead like ancient sentinels. Each step felt heavy with the anticipation of what lay ahead, a blend of anxiety and determination coursing through him. As he approached the door from which the cry had emanated, Zerr hesitated, uncertainty flooding his mind. What could possibly await him inside? He pressed the control panel, and the door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a scene that sent chills racing down his spine. The suite was a sprawling expanse of luxurious furnishings, its vastness emphasized by high ceilings and grand windows that offered a breathtaking view of the distant glowing moon. But the beauty of the setting was marred by the sight before him. Fur and bits of fluff were scattered all over the suite, more fur than Zerr thought an occupant of his species could ever grow. Oddly, there was no blood or signs of struggle, only an unsettling emptiness that filled the air with a palpable tension. Zerr stepped further into the room, the haunting silence amplifying his sense of dread. He gingerly stepped over clumps of fur, moving toward the far corner where the bed loomed high above him, crafted for the larger denizens of the station. The bedding seemed to be the only place where something could be hiding, and he reasoned that it would provide a better vantage point. He clambered up the side of the bedspread, his heart pounding in his chest, as he felt a mixture of anxiety and determination. From this elevated position, he scanned the room, searching for any sign of life, but all he found was more fur covering the carpet, a disheartening reminder of whatever had transpired here. Suddenly, a deafening roar erupted from beneath the bed, causing the mattress to shake violently. Zerr leapt to his feet, his heart racing as an enormous alien predator burst into view. The creature was a grotesque blend of brown and black fur, towering over him with menacing eyes that glinted with primal hunger. Its massive jaws were lined with razor-sharp teeth, and its powerful limbs were built for speed, ready to pounce. Frozen in terror, Zerr's instincts screamed for him to flee, but the doorway felt too far away. The beast sniffed the air, its large tail waving furiously in a threat display. In a moment of sheer panic, Zerr activated his comms, calling for backup. But as the words escaped his throat, the creature roared in response, shaking the very room. In that instant, the predator's body lowered, preparing to pounce. Zerr felt like a statue, paralyzed by fear. The beast seemed to react to every twitch and sound he made, and he hoped that if he remained still, he might survive long enough for help to arrive. Moments passed like hours, and when he finally opened his eyes, he found himself alone on the bed. Confused, he scanned the room, wondering if he had somehow survived this nightmare. But soon, his backup arrived. An imposing human woman stood in the doorway, her presence dominating the room. At her feet, the alien beast sat on its haunches, panting happily, its previous ferocity seemingly forgotten. The human's eyes narrowed, concern etched on her face. "What the hell were you doing to my dog?" The implant in Zerr's ear translated her words, and he felt as if he were in a twisted dream. "What am I doing to your dog?" he screamed, a wave of anger washing over him. "I'm investigating a murder. That thing murdered an occupant of this station, and I demand that you answer for it." The human paled, her denial striking Zerr like a blow. "That can't be. Rangers are too well trained to do anything like that. Rage ignited within Zerr. I heard them dying. I had to listen to their screams as that thing tore them apart. You dare deny their suffering? You're standing amidst their remains right now. He gestured wildly at the fur scattered across the floor, his voice trembling with emotion. But instead of the anger he expected, the human broke down into laughter. Zerr blinked in disbelief, certain he had misheard her. "I'm so sorry," she managed to say between fits of giggles. "This has all been a horrible misunderstanding. Let me show you." Before Zerr could protest, she strode into the room, easily navigating the space despite her restraints. She rummaged through a stack of luggage in the corner and returned, holding up a small plush toy resembling a dog. "This is one of Ranger's toys," she explained, her tone softening. "Between prepping for our docking procedures and settling in on the station, I haven't had the chance to get Ranger his exercise in a few days. He can get a little antsy, and sometimes he takes it out on his chew toys." Zerr glanced at Ranger, who was now sitting eagerly near the doorway, fixated on the toy in the human's hands. The pieces began to fall into place, and as the human squeezed the toy, it emitted the same haunting cry of pain that had echoed through the suite. The predator went wild, bouncing around the human as more distressing squeaks erupted from the plush toy. Zerr realized how disturbing the whole scene must look from the outside. The human blushed, trying to explain. "We bred dogs from apex predators millennia ago. Some of those killer instincts still run deep. The squeakers in the toys mimic the sound of dying prey animals, and most dogs go wild for it. I didn't think about how close to home that might land for you." Stunned, Zerr turned and walked out of the suite, feeling a mix of relief and embarrassment wash over him. Dealing with strange beings from different worlds was one thing, but the revelation of monsters masquerading as pets was too much for him to handle. As he stepped into the corridor, the weight of the misunderstanding settled on him. His mind raced with thoughts of the bizarre encounter. In the cacophony of interspecies interactions, he realized that assumptions could lead to chaos, and ignorance could easily breed fear. Zerr wandered through the bustling corridors, a kaleidoscope of life enveloping him. Various species moved gracefully, their vibrant colors and unique features a stark contrast to his own. Each being seemed to embody a piece of the Federation's complex tapestry, and yet, he felt an overwhelming sense of alienation, a reminder of the misunderstandings that lingered in the air. He passed a group of workers discussing maintenance protocols, their voices rising and falling in animated debate. The clanging of tools echoed around him, and Zerr paused for a moment, allowing himself to be absorbed in the moment. The laughter and chatter of the beings around him served as a reminder of the camaraderie that could exist even among those so different. As he continued down the hallway, he reflected on the bizarre nature of the universe he was part of. Was it always going to be this confusing? Would he forever find himself grappling with the unpredictable realities of interspecies life? Just then, the chime of his comms broke through his thoughts. "Officer Zerr, report to the command center," the voice crackled through the speaker. The command center, where decisions were made, where the fate of lives hung in the balance. A sense of urgency propelled him forward, and he quickened his pace. Upon entering the command center, Zerr found himself surrounded by bustling officers, each engaged in their respective tasks. Monitors blinked and flashed with an array of data, displaying vital information about the station's operations and its inhabitants. The atmosphere buzzed with energy, an invigorating contrast to the events of the last hour. "Zerr, over here," one of his colleagues called, waving him over to a terminal. "We need you to analyze the latest reports from Sector 9. There has been an uptick in activity that requires immediate attention." Zerr nodded, sliding into the seat and focusing on the screen. As he immersed himself in the data, he felt a sense of purpose returning. The earlier incident, bizarre as it had been, was just a fragment of a much larger picture. The Zeno habitation ring was alive with stories, struggles, and triumphs that extended far beyond his own understanding. He typed furiously, piecing together the information, each keystroke contributing to the greater good. The overwhelming sense of dread that had gripped him earlier began to dissipate, replaced by a renewed sense of determination. Outside the command center, the bustling station continued to pulse with life, vibrant and unpredictable. Zerr understood now that every creature, every inhabitant, played a role in this intricate web of existence. Misunderstandings could breed chaos, but they could also lead to growth, understanding, and the strength to forge bonds across the vast divide of space. As the monitors flickered before him, he smiled at the thought of the adventures that awaited him in this extraordinary place. There would always be challenges, but now he felt ready to face them head on. The universe was a tapestry of shadows and light, and he would navigate its depths with an open heart and mind, ready to embrace the unknown.